Hello and welcome to Wrestling Questions You Want Answered. I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture, joined by Adam Cleary and Phil Chambers from What Culture to, answer all the wrestling questions that you want answered. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts where we review Raw, SmackDown, and the Wednesday Night War between AEW and NXT. Pay-per-views, we have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week, complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on Wrestle Culture. As I said, though, joined by Phil and Cleary. We are live here on YouTube. If you want any questions answered, please do stick them in the comment section below. But there's only one place to start, and that, Phil Chambers, is WWE's Thunderdome. The news broke yesterday. Kevin Dunn did a big interview with Sports Illustrated. Adam Cleary, welcome back, first of all, Adam Cleary.
Hello, sir.
What do you make of all this, and what have you missed?
What's Thunderdome?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Basically, they, of course, are moving to the Amway Center. They are no longer in the Performance Center. NXT, of course, emanates from Full Sail. So Raw was the last show of the PC era, if that's what we're going to call it. Can't really call it the empty arena era when there's people there. They're moving to the Amway Center.
Can't call it the empty arena either when they've never actually bothered having an empty arena.
But yes, they are now transforming the Amway Center, in Kevin Dunn words, well, not in Kevin Dunn words, in WWE's words, into the Thunderdome. They are going to have, in fact, I'll read you a quote from the interview. When a big star like Drew McIntyre comes down to the ring, the whole arena will turn into his content with lasers, pyro, smoke, projections on the top of the building and on the floor. And they're also going to be doing virtual fans. You may have seen a bit of them in like the NBA or there's the screens that they sometimes show at football games here in the UK.
The Newcastle fan who held up the sign saying "Savage is a wanker" on BT Sport. Yeah, I remember that. Good.
Exactly. But they are going to have rows and rows and rows of fans. 1,000 LED boards to recreate the arena experience you're used to seeing with WWE. Cleary, your immediate reaction to this?
Before, I just want to clarify, obviously, for everybody who mistakenly thinks they can do this job, I have heard of the Thunderdome. That was a bit, allowing my co-presenter to have a nice lead in to do a bit of extrapolation for you. I think this is... right, before I start, we are now in an era for WWE whereby every single decision and every single thing they want to do has to be removed from itself and applied to the usual context. Now, is this a good idea in the grand scheme of things? It's probably got large problems around it. It's probably not the best thing to do. They're almost certainly going to have lots of teething issues getting thousands of fans on these LED screens. It's never going to work as well as they want it to. Yada, etc., etc. I cannot flipping wait to see what a disaster this is, because either it's going to be great and it's going to revolutionize the shows and it's going to get us a little bit closer to normality. Either it's going to be good on the terms they want it to be good, or it's going to be so bad it will be good on brand new terms. So genuinely, no lose this for me. It sounds great.
Yeah, considering WWE 2K isn't a thing this year because of their last experience with this sort of thing. I'm not that confident. Phil, I'd love to know your thoughts on this. You've been involved in a lot more of the production side of wrestling shows than any of us. How do you feel about this? What on earth is it going to look like?
Hang on, sorry, just before we let Phil go into precisely all the logistics of this and what it's asked me, I've got my cup of tea. I've got a nice Belgian chocolate cookie. So, Phil, 10 full minutes, please, on why this will never work.
All right, so Defiant Wrestling, we had, 15 LED screens? And it was a bloody pain in the ass every single goddamn time of wires breaking and things going wrong. And then, the picture would be upside down or, a bit of it be over here, a bit of it be over here. That was 15 screens. They're talking thousands. I can't wait. Whatever this is going to be, I honestly really... I'm just saying before we started this, I'm so glad that I reviewed the SmackDown thing. Just because I get to see this first and talk about it. It's, the Thunderdome. It's like Mad Max, but with a budget. And I think when they first announced it, I just wanted them to have loads of little zoom screens and then pump in the sound from each person's zoom. And then when someone pops, then it's just going to be this weird trickle effect of all these different sounds popping at different times because of different people's internet latency.
It's the thing is as well is, like I said, I've seen it a little bit with the Premier League where they show a quick flash of, say, 20 screens when a team has a chance or scores a goal or whatever, right? There's no noise with that. It's just, here's how the Aston Villa fans reacted with this chance. And it's all, like you say, all a bit out of time, but you get the general. They want to allow fans at home to start chants, so they're going to try and put sound through it as well. Matt Rain, thank you for donation in the comment section, by the way. Matt Rain says, "How could this go wrong? See chat roulette." There's no way to control. And as Cedric and I talked about this immediately as the news broke yesterday, we know what wrestling fans are like. We are wrestling fans. There's no way of controlling what they're going to do.
You would 1,000%. You would 1,000% out of Wilborn get your chap out given the opportunity on one of these.
I have to find the urge whenever we do this, let alone being on SmackDown or whatever.
Live national TV. How could you stop the chance of the opportunity? Once in a lifetime opportunity to get your knob out on SmackDown.
Like you say though, it's kind of worked, at least for this week, at least for SmackDown, and certainly for SummerSlam. I've had casual fans going, Thunderdome, just the word Thunderdome in a message to me. And 100% I will be staying up on Friday night. I don't normally stay up and watch SmackDown, especially in recent weeks with Braun Strowman just really close to the camera, cutting a promo and sweating a lot and, having a bald head now, which is weird. But it's a moment in time to see what on earth this is going to look like. When, for example, SmackDown came from the PC with Triple H on commentary for a bit, and then them still working out all the I can't wait to see what this looks like. And Kevin Dunn, king of production, he's already bad enough with camera cuts. What's he going to be like with this?
You say though, okay, yeah, the camera cuts are one thing. It's ludicrous how many times they cut the cameras and things. But if there's one thing that WWE does and does better than anybody else, it's these big stage setups. Look at the setups for WrestleMania, the setups they were doing for the greatest Royal Rumble over in Saudi and things like that. The huge screens, the flying cameras, everything about that setup is huge and just oozes sort of money and presentation. They are really, really good at that side of things. So I assume this has been very well planned out and very well coordinated. Otherwise, it could go very wrong. But no matter what, I think it's going to look absolutely spectacular. And yeah, well, it seems like something we've never seen in wrestling before. So yeah, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt for that.
Clearly, you were, as Phil was saying that, going, "Don't worry, it's going to be fine." You were shaking your head vigorously.
It just sounds like something that in the planning stages looks really good, and when you get the in-house artist to draft you up what that might look like, it looks really good. And when you get the PR department to draft you some copy about what it's going to be like, that sounds and reads really good. And then when push comes to shove, and somebody goes, "Can we just sign this check, Vince?" And he goes, "Oh, what's this about the bag of money?" I just think it's been made to sound very exciting and very interesting, and I reserve complete judgment until I see for definite it's not just 20 open laptop screens on a different chair in the arena.
It strikes me of when we have a big meeting. God, I miss these in the What Culture office. We go, yeah, that's a good idea, and we could do this, and we could do that, and we could do all these other things because. Think about, we'll have pyro and lasers and video projections on the roof and drones. There's so many moving parts here, and the fact people
have we ever said any of that? What meeting have I missed?
That is what Kevin Dunn said in the promotional interview with Sports Illustrated. That's what we should expect.
You've got to think the last time they played with projections, though, was Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt at Mania with the little creepy crawlies on the floor. So I'm really hoping they've come a long way since then.
It's just... I like the fact that people I've seen already, and someone's even said it in the comments section. Here we go. Mohammed said, they'll work out the quirks on SmackDown and fix it for SummerSlam. No, they won't. It's 2 days later. It'll just be scrap all that bollocks. That's not going to work.
Well, I think we can all agree on Friday that none of this worked at all. So, suggestions how to turn this around in 48 hours, boys? None.
It's just... like, to be fair, they finally found a use. You know, when we always used to moan that they got rid of Pyro to have like a 4D projection of Brock Lesnar's skull. Well, at least they've got a reason to do that now, I suppose. Mr. Phoenix in the comments says, since they're going to have virtual fans at the stupid dome, are they going to be the LCD display community? Seth Kent says, okay, imagine this, Thunderdome Underground. Well, I'm afraid that Michael Sidgwick came up with Raw Thunderground.
There you go. That's all right.
And Mr. Phoenix with a little sliding at AW, which is a fair point. You want to know why AW and WWE are different? Stephanie didn't book herself in the Mae Young Classic. I assume that is something to do with the women's tag tournament, which is, of course, still going on, set to be resolved, I believe, this Saturday on Dynamite. It's all over the bloody shop. Who knows about that sort of thing? I want to talk to you now about something slightly out of date compared to what's going on currently in wrestling, but very much a talking point. Miro was on
Your shit.
Ryback's podcast talking about Rusev Day, of course, Miro, formerly Rusev in the WWE, and explaining that Vince claimed that the fans were mocking him when chanting for Rusev Day. And when Miro said, yeah, but look at all the merch sales, he said, oh, that was a stocking issue. Were you mocking Rusev Day when you were chanting for it, Adam Cleary?
No, I wasn't. I was mocking Aiden English when I chanted for it, but I wasn't mocking Rusev. It's mad that, like, you can just see that when he gets his mind made up about somebody, and this isn't something we needed to find out off, Miro talking on Ryback's podcast. The evidence is literally self-evident when you watch any of the programming. He just decided he didn't want to push him and he didn't like him, and it didn't matter what anybody said. It didn't matter what the numbers said. It didn't matter what the merch said. It didn't matter what the crowd said. It didn't matter what he said. None of that mattered because he just had it in his head he didn't want to book him. So it's like, well, everybody's chanting my thing, making fun of you. Well, I've sold all these T-shirts, stocking issue. Like, it just nothing gets through to him. And everybody who comes out of the company tells this exact story of this stubbornness, of this determination to push through ideas that he likes and that he's come up with, not being willing to change, not listening to the audience, not listening to his employees, not listening to the wrestlers themselves. It's just add it to the pile. Like, I'm not shocked or saddened to hear this because, and to be fair, by this stage, I know Rusev Day was like literally today and yesterday and the day before, but the exact moment we're talking about here was 2 years ago-ish, give or take. It's not a new thing. Like, if you were still in WWE in 2018 under the pretense that you could change Vince McMahon's mind and force yourself into the title picture, like, 2 people have ever done that in the last 15 years, Bryan and Becky Lynch. That is the level. You need to have people rioting in the stands to get a change of direction there, and they'll still try and make out like it was their idea.
Well, exactly. Look at the Divas Revolution, the Women's Revolution. That's, thank goodness Stephanie McMahon came up with that. It is, Phil, like Cleary said, if they, and that being Vince or any of the higher ups in WWE, didn't come up with it, then it's not a thing, and it certainly won't be until they claim ownership of it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a new thing either. Look back at like Zack Ryder when he was doing his trying to get over with the Z True Long Island Story thing, and he had like the broski shirt and things, and they were selling out all over the place. Chance for him in the middle of like a Rock promo. Nah, who cares? Let's just get Kane to throw him off the entranceway and move on with our lives because he's not over. We don't want him. And now it's happening with Rusev, and yeah, just the logic of, it's easy to sell out your T-shirts when we don't print that many, or we'll print more, and then you'll find out, like, legitimately, like, it doesn't make any sense. Just a crazy old man trying desperately to, like, in his own head, turn this around on him somehow.
Ridiculous. Let's talk a little bit about Retribution. Cleary, you've kind of been out of the loop of wrestling. You were away last week. What is your last memory of Retribution?
My last memory of it was people were trying to work out whether or not it was okay that they beat up a woman.
Yes, right, okay. Well, they made that.
One of them there looks like they might have a ponytail, so if they're going to give this wee lassie a kicking, that's probably fine.
Yeah, they made that very clear it was a woman. So you've seen them obviously use a chainsaw on the ropes. You haven't, though, seen what they did on last week's Raw, where... We are going to get to a question for you, Phil, who knows slightly more about this in a second. They threw a cinder block through a glass door, but then another one had another cinder block. So he just threw it in the hole where the glass used to be, whilst one man, as Phil pointed out on their Wrestling Culture, said, "Get out of here." And they said, "No, you get out of here."
And then they all ran away.
And then they turned over a car, I believe, on Raw. But then on SmackDown, Phil, am I right in thinking they locked someone in a toilet?
They did. They ran wild. They threw like some referees onto tables and threw some books around, and then they opened up a door and there was a man having a poo, and they just closed the door again and put a chair on the door handle so he couldn't get out. Damn you, Retribution.
Remember that time the Riot Squad cut somebody's tie?
Yeah.
Genuinely, right? I think this is something Hanford said, but Vince has just turned on the television for one night, hasn't he? Seen a load of riots and protests and just thought, angle, that's an angle.
It's just
my favorite thing about Retribution is at the minute is like SmackDown, like they beat up the people in the crowd. They like try to beat up the cameraman. They've beaten up referees. Like they've actually attacked people like in the ring. And then on Raw, they rewind the Then Now Forever video clip and then like just shut down Raw, like tell someone to press stop on the Raw feed. And then that was in the first quarter of an hour, and then we never see them again for the rest of the show. It's like, yeah, our work here is done. Raw's not on TV anymore. We can go.
It looked like someone sat on the production desk because it was just like, here's a Raw footage from last week. Then Now Forever. The name tag or whatever, and then they just said going into the first break. Turn it off, press the button. So I wouldn't be surprised if the viewership just went 0 because we went, well, that's the end of Monday Night Raw. Thanks for that. It's insane. So anyway, Phil, what are they going to do at SummerSlam?
Lose to John Cena?
They've got an entire Thunderdome to destroy now. So, I mean, the opportunities are endless there, surely. That's like, thousands of LED screens that they can throw bricks at, or just spray paint over some of the pixels, but not all of them because they're not very good at using spray paint tins.
I can't decide clearly whether or not they're going to ruin the main event of SummerSlam or be a minor annoyance on the kickoff show and then never be seen again.
You've said that. That's not a question. Nobody can decide whether or not they're going to just do something annoying on the kickoff show or ruin the main event. Vince probably can't even decide what they're going to do at SummerSlam. They probably wouldn't even know what they're supposed to be doing at SummerSlam until literally somebody throws them through the curtain 2 hours into the show and goes, just trip over a wire. Tell Byron Saxton his shirt is funny. It's just, we have sat here every week. We've done this godforsaken live video and gone, they just don't know what they're doing, do they? And I think in Retribution, we now have the purest distillation of they just don't know what they're doing, do they? Because there's no little teasers there. There's no clues about who's in charge. They are just keeping it mysterious and vague and random and nonsensical for as long as they can until they decide who they somehow want to give a 2-week rub to as being revealed as the leader before they just book them into another nonsensical little corner. WWE does not have the good faith or the goodwill in the bank for people to put up with this. They need to do something with it, or just I don't know. As if I'm making them an ultimatum. They need to do something about this, or by God, they're going to lose another 100,000 viewers every hour. They'll just do what they want. They'll just do what they want because they're isolated from failure because they have too much goddamn money.
I think Balls has worked this out. I'm just going to go to the comments section here. Balls says, Retribution is allowed to stay up late on Fridays, but they have to be in bed by 10 on Mondays. That's why they have to get stuff early, Phil.
Makes sense.
Paul Orbin says, Adam, have your neighbours knocked on your door and wonder why they keep hearing Retribution? Love the work as always. Yeah, it must be a nightmare living next door to me. Isaac Merriweather says, at this point, if Drew loses at SummerSlam, I hope he becomes so full of rage that he just squashes Retribution like a fake spider in a cage. And also thank you to Shannon Brown, who says, boys, just want to say thanks for all the good content over the last few months. I had to cancel my wedding and lost my job. What Culture kept me sane. Thank you so much for that, Shannon. Don't worry, things will get better, I promise. Finally, Mr. Phoenix says, I haven't given you a Wednesday night what if in a while, so have these. Hikaru Shida versus Io Shirai and Darby Allin versus Angel Garza. Cleary, why don't you take that? Which one? Who wins out of those?
I don't know. I can't get past Darby Allin versus Angel Garza there because I just think that's the exact two sides of the chaotic, evil personality. Like, Darby Allin, goth. Angel Garza, shagger. There's no like. That's it, isn't it? That's the divide down the middle. Either your personality is made up of certain percent Angel Garza and a certain percent Darby Allin. That's it. That's all there is. There isn't a winner in that. The winner of that is just wrestling.
And Phil, no doubt, Hikaru Shida versus Io Shirai would be a spectacular match.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who would your money be on?
Io Shirai. I don't think you can bet against Io Shirai or something like that. They'd be a hell of a match, though. Yeah, I would be down for seeing both of those. But yeah, I'd never even think of pairing up Angel Garza and Darby Allin. But now that I think about it, I really want to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, though, some days you wake up and you're just in more of a Darby Allin mood, and some days you wake up and you're in more of an Angel Garza mood, and that's it. Some days you're feeling really Angel Garza-y, but then some stuff happens, and actually, by the time you're home again, you're in a bit of a Darby Allin mood, aren't you? That's how that works.
You're feeling a bit Angel Garza-y, and then Eric from the Viking Raiders steals your girl with a bit of meat, and then you're feeling a bit Darby Allin-y.
That's it. Or sometimes you're feeling a bit Darby Allin-y, and you just like find a shiny coin in the street, and all of a sudden, Angel Garza all over your face.
I'll try and salvage this.
Salvage this? What are you talking about?
Random Gamer 14 asks, oh goodness me, Randy versus Triple H at Mania? ? This was sparked by a comment by Stephen Davis suggesting Randy versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 37. Of course, Michaels seeming to allude that he may be there at SummerSlam on Sunday and then getting RKO'd and punted in the head. Phil, you had an immediate reaction. Either of those potential matches excite you?
Just no to Triple H. Just a hard no. We've had enough. He's had his time. Let's move on. Although I could 100% see them doing it. But no, just no. I think if they're going to build to anything with Randy Orton at Mania, surely it's the final one of the Edge matches if they bring him back for that. But no, not Triple H, no. Or Shawn Michaels, not that either. No.
Cleary, you're pulling him face.
I think the only thing I want to build to with Randy Orton is dignitas, to be completely honest with you.
Ellie asks, what are your predictions for Asuka versus Sasha and Asuka versus Bayley? Interesting to see Asuka doing double duty at SummerSlam. And do you think both of those matches are going to have a finish with Payback a week after SummerSlam?
I think what will happen is Sasha, it depends whichever match goes on first. I reckon Sasha and Bayley, one of them's going to retain, the other one isn't. Or better yet, one of them accidentally, inadvertently, as they say behind a wrestling commentary desk, inadvertently costs their friend their title. And then when it's their turn to watch their back in the next match, oh, they've had enough, which I am delighted by, because after we sat here and made an impassioned argument for them just not rushing this and doing it in the space of a week and really dragging it out until next year's WrestleMania where they could do it properly, glad to see that we're going to get both the tease, the tension, the twist, the breakup, the implosion, and the payoff match in the space of a fortnight. Yeah, I think Bayley is defending a title first, if I'm not mistaken.
Have they actually announced that? I didn't know they'd announced that yet.
I think that's what they said last night. I think they were fake arguing, and Bayley said, you know what, I'll beat Asuka first so you can retain your title much easier. But I see Bayley retaining and Sasha losing, and that being the catalyst. What do you reckon, Phil?
Yeah, I think that as well. I definitely think there's obviously going to be shenanigans between them where one tries to help but maybe accidentally fails to help or something like that. I don't think it's going to be a full out-and-out sabotage just yet. I think there's still time. They've still got plenty of time to tell this story, but the wheels are coming off that team more now than they sort of have done for a very long time, with like Sasha just kind of openly basically pointing at Bayley and going, what the hell are you doing? Why are you putting me in that match on SmackDown? And then Bayley saying, oh, well, I didn't even have anything to fight for when I was fighting for you versus Asuka. Now I'll have my championship on the line. Now this is worth fighting for. It's, yeah, the cockiness of both of them is getting to them. So one of them is definitely losing. I see Sasha losing the belt and Asuka winning it. And then do you think Asuka and Shayna Baszler versus Bayley and Sasha for payback?
This was going to be my next question. Ms. Potterhead in the comments says, who should be the next WWE Women's Tag Team Champions? And surprisingly, I will not say the Iconics for once. I think I love that team of Shayna and Asuka, even though why was there a DQ 2 weeks ago, or the match called off or whatever? And then this week, when one half of a tag team gets assaulted and brawls through the crowd, carry on with the match.
The other week, it wasn't even people involved in the match. Just Bayley and Asuka were on the outside, not involved in anything, and it got thrown out. And this week, who cares? It's Nia Jax, I guess.
But I do like the idea of Asuka and Shayna Baszler being this odd couple tag team, winning the Women's Tag Team Championships. What do you reckon, Cleary?
I'll be well up for that personally, but I've got to say, this is what people don't like about wrestling fans, gentlemen. People complained and they moaned about matches randomly getting thrown out for no reason. Let them fight, they said. That's not why we disqualify a match. And now here we are, and the refs have just let play go on, and all of a sudden, I need consistency. Absolute rubbish. Do you want common sense or do you want consistency? Make up your goddamn minds.
Let's wrap up here very quickly with our favourite memories of the PC era in WWE. It's all over now. Phil, what do you think of, if anything, when you have that montage of great PC era WWE memories?
As soon as you said that, I got really worried because I was like, favourite moment? I can't think of any moments that I actually really liked. I'm going to go with Money in the Bank because that was the full on, this is the Performance Center, this is what we're going to do here, I guess. Ridiculousness. You got to see all of the Performance Center. They went all over the place. They found rooms you never even knew existed and roofs that you never even knew existed. So I'm going to go with that just because how stupid the entire thing was, and I think it kind of pretty much sums up the entire Performance Center era.
Cleary, when you look back over these past few months, it's been about 6 months, I think it is. What stands out for you?
The only moment I will look back on in WWE during the empty arena era with any fondness is when Sheamus was making Jeff Hardy pee into a cup, and during a deathly silence that had descended across the live crowd, and for some reason the fake crowd noise as well, you heard as he was peering over, going, "You're nearly done, Jeff." Someone in the crowd went, "Yo, why are you looking?" And that was the only moment I will recall with any fondness whatsoever.
I have tweeted,
and the Boneyard match.
They're very good. I have tweeted my favourite moments of the last few months, and that will be Stone Cold asking for a hell yeah, and an immediate shot of empty chairs, followed by Byron Sachs going, hell yeah! What a guy. And I'll leave the final comment for today to Mr. Phoenix, who says, people wonder why there's no hacker anymore. Easy this. WWE has McAfee now. Yeah, they got a bomb. I can't take that. Right, let us know.
Before we go, can we please talk about the sword that they've put on Drew McIntyre's music?
Oh God, no, it's so bad.
Cleary, have you seen this?
I have not.
It right before his music starts, it just kind of goes ka-ching, and then it starts his music. It's the worst. It's so bad. It's horrible.
I was going to say Cleary needs to make a sound so we can see his face.
I don't know. I get it. A claymore is a type of famous Scottish sword. I get the gag, but shut up.
We'll leave it there. Let us know your thoughts on everything we discussed in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. It's going to be a mad few days, I've got to say.
Yeah, it just always dawned on me after 5 years in this job. We always say, don't forget. They don't forget. They just don't want to. Don't forget. Oh, look. Thousands of them forgot to like, share, and subscribe again. Oh, best remind them. They don't forget.
Well, you can follow us all on
Post-it notes on fridges across the world. Like, share, subscribe. Oh, I've done it again. Oh.
Good night, love. Night. You lock the front door.
Retribution.
You can follow us all on Twitter at WhatCultureWW. You can follow Adam Cleary at
At Adam Cleary, CLERY. Don't forget.
You can follow Phil Chambers at
Fill My Chambers, and go subscribe to Kayfabe News on YouTube while you're at it.
Yeah, past what was it, 50,000 subscribers recently?
Yeah, we did it.
Congratulations.
Could do with more though.
People who haven't forgotten to subscribe. That's very impressive.
There's also more and more regularity. I see Kayfabe news articles and go, "Oh, the news! Oh no, it's not the news." Like it's hard. It must be hard for you guys to distinguish what is enough of a parody to not be tricking people into real life.
It's getting harder and harder with every passing month of 2020.
Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Adam Wilborn. Guaranteed banter on there, isn't it, Cleary? Good. Right.
That was your give me a hell yeah moment.
You can follow
See what
us
I've
all
done there?
at What
See what I've done
Culture.
there? In comedy circles, mate, that's called a callback.
Very nice. Very good indeed. Right. This has been Wrestling Questions You Want Answered. Thank you to everyone who's asked questions, who's donated, who's joined us. My thanks to Adam Cleary and to Phil Chambers. And we will see you soon.